Our property acts like a step pyramid from the Aztecs or the Mayas or well, it's not the Incas. And anyway, I had wanted to get a little miniature horse, and I had this square corral type thing made, not realizing that I should have gotten a round one to exercise the horse, but I got this square thing, and then the horse was a miniature horse, and I thought that was cool because we're all about being hobbits or even Narnians, and a little miniature horse is just adorable. And I found one, and her name was Firefly, and she ended up being all but adorable because she ended up hurting me quite a bit. She was very feisty and didn't want to be on a lead, and then she bit me numerous times, and then she would also throw her hip against me and knock me to the side. And then the last straw came when she deliberately reared up and landed on my foot, which blew up like a football, and I ended up in the emergency room. So Firefly is now in a better place with another family, and that was that. But I was left with this corral. And finally, after 15 years, 12 to 15 years, I got to plant a vegetable garden, and by using this corral. And what we did was we put the square wire, this type of gauge that's square, and then I, on my own, believe it or not, I might have channeled it, or might have been the voice of God, taught me about zip ties. But then I will go on YouTube when I started wanting to learn more about gardening big vegetable gardens in light of the recent activities of 2020. Everybody uses zip ties. It's like the new duct tape. And I think it's brilliant, and I'm just glad all these people thought of it too. And it worked amazingly well here, and it's easy. But so we fenced it all in, and because I'm trying to make changes in my life, I made it my victory garden. Made the sign. Very professional looking. It's Harvest Blessings from the dollar store. But I went ahead and see all the steer manure? That's what we use. That's what I used. Chicken manure, steer manure, and I had a whole garage full of all different kinds of fertilizers. But there had been a horse here already, so it was just a mixture of different organic fertilizers. But I'm going to do my own little personal garden tour. I've got lots of manure. And so as you enter, I have gourds, and they're birdhouse gourds and dipper gourds. And then I have these little tiny raised beds that were made that were supposed to be for down below our property in our backyard garden, but I wanted to have them up here. So I have two of them, and they hold peppers. So I have bell pepper and chili and jalapeno, and then over there is habanero, and then some onions. And quite truthfully, the amount that has come out of these few plants is overwhelming. I was really, really pleasantly surprised. I made this trellisy kind of thing, and it's not hog panel, it's stuff that's used in cement work, and it was not the brightest thing in the world to use. I didn't realize how flimsy it was, so there's two of them sandwiched together. And what I did was I had gone to a harvest festival once, and there was a woman who grew loofah, and this is kind of like the pagoda type trellising that she had, and so I was trying to duplicate it. But I do have gourds growing, not gourds, loofahs. I have loofahs growing, and I'll probably just look at them and say, wow, I grew loofah, and probably won't have the time to make them into sponges. Then I was inspired by Patera to try to grow Job's tears, and these are my pathetic looking Job's tears, which are Cherokee beads. I put them in rings mainly because I didn't want to forget that they were there, and because they kind of look like weeds. And but that's as far as they got. And I made the soil hot, lots of manure and other mixings, and it's hot up here. But we'll see. I don't know if they're just really slow, but they've been there a while. So the gourds again. So over here, I really don't even want to show it to anybody because it's embarrassing. I grew up with caging with wire in these tubes because we have so many rodents here. We have squirrels and rats and mice and everything. And it was somewhat protective, but then I discovered it also creates a cramping to where they get sick. And I took that off, and what I want to do is I have those triangular type tomato cages and or tomato supports. That's what I'm going to use, and take these wire things off. But I did zinnias because I learned about pollinators, and I am this tall, so that roughly maybe 3 inches taller, but they got really tall. And then there's these California mammoth sunflower seeds that I actually got at the Dollar Tree. Or was it 99-cent store? 99-cent store had them for $4 for $1. So they're not really mammoth as far as the flower, but they're mammoth in height. And if I were to stack myself, I would say that one of them is a good 10-12 feet high. And that's being kind of generous to my height too, because the lowest one there is my height. So all of these are tomatoes, mostly Romas and some yellow pear, but I need to pick them and can them, but I haven't been able to yet. I'm afraid that I also have mildew on my melon leaves, and I don't understand that. Being in the desert, everything just sort of dries up. I always water before 10. And some of these are dying. What I have too are pill bugs, and I discovered diatomaceous earth, and I went ahead and do it around the outside, and then I water and I mess that up. But they're in here somewhere because they're starting to kill off the roots. They killed off the roots of one of my tomato plants, and when I lifted it up, it was a whole nest of them. So those are the bugs that I have to contend with. I also have tons of wasps, which I found out actually eat beetles, which were eating some of my plants, and now that stopped. So I have watermelon, and oh, by the way, it seems so big, and I had all these ideas of different kinds of plants and vegetables to grow, that I didn't realize that they grow. And so it is really tangled and overflowing on a little 2-foot fence I have, because I was trying to have like a double layers of protection for the plants. My corn was annihilated by ants. I come out here and they just have, every time a corn starts to ripen, it gets annihilated, and it was very frustrating because they were so beautiful. But so there's zinnias, and then there's 2 eggplants that just keep producing more egg parmesan than I could possibly eat. And forget about the zucchini. I'm telling you, I had no idea that zucchini would produce as much as it does. I have buckets and buckets of zucchini. And I mean, I'm tired of zucchini bread. I know there's other recipes, but it's like too much. We've done the zoodles and noodles and that type of thing, but it just produces so much, and I should be grateful. But next time I'm only going to plant maybe 1 or 2, and not, I think I have 6 here. I have other types of squashes in here. I think that's a butternut, and then I have some I'm thinking that's a squash, or it might be a cross, because I do have cantaloupe and watermelon mixed together on this side. But I made poles for pole beans and peas, and then I have these little flyaway things that's supposed to scare birds away. I really don't think they do. I think they laugh at it more than anything. And then I planted some more pollinators here and here. Everything's from seed, and I was just so surprised at how big everything got. And then carrots were planted, but then water made them flow into different areas. So I have carrots in the most random spots. Originally, when I grew lettuce, it's so hot up here and so intense with the sun that I use shade cloth, and I really don't know the gauge wire fencing that I had extra in the barn, including the shade cloth, and I just went ahead and made like a little low tunnel. And whatever's in there now is not any good, but I know there's some carrots in there and some, I think Swiss chard is what I have over here, as well as these massive beets. And what do you do with that many beets? You can them, you pickle them, and I just became hyper aware of how much work, because the harvesting comes all at once. That was something I wasn't able to comprehend. But these are the tomato cages that I far prefer. I got these at Home Depot, but I also got some from Gardener Supply, and they seem massive, but I want to try them. I really do. And then I got broccoli, and then through inspiration again on YouTube, on different channels, I decided I'm going to try to grow okra. And I just noticed these yesterday, that there's little okras, and I guess I heard that they're part of the mallow family, and they have these really pretty flowers that turn into these little spiky things. And then I read that they grow, I thought they were like bushes, but I had heard that they're going to get quite tall. I'm trying to figure out in this moment. I had planted quite a few, and I don't see that many. Oh yeah, they're over here. There's one. And this is my massive, it's not rhubarb. No, it's not kale. It is Swiss chard. Hello. Okay, got it. Then I have some pumpkins that I am kind of proud of over here. They're Big Maxes. I do try to cut the yellow leaves off, save energy. It seems to help them, but I haven't done it in a while. Oh, I see there's lots of ants. Oh, joy. I need to throw out the diatomaceous earth. And then over here I have cucumbers, and I just pulled a whole bunch out, and I wanted to try fridge pickles as well as pickling a peck of no, those are peppers. Pickling the cucumbers to make pickles. So that's kind of my garden tour. I sort of went around, but it's too hard to get through in here. So I'm going to circle back, and these are actually really, really good, by the way. That's a cherry tomato, and it's from the 99-cent store. Yes, you heard me right. Okay, that is my August 20-something garden tour in Acton.